Alrighty then, it's time for another episode of everyone's favorite shonen, Jungle Kayn. Which one? By now you guys should know he's probably my favorite jungle carry now. But first, a filler arc of Zack. Yay for spin-offs, right? Yeah, it's one of those double videos I've been, doing every now and then. Anyhow, first things first, start off blue, and look at my opponent. It's Nidalee. I'm terrified. So I'm going to go blue, get the wolves immediately, and go for red just in case she tries to invade me. Because Jungle Nidalee tends to do that a lot. Murders people, and I hate her so much. Please don't play Jungle Nidalee against me. It'll make me sad. Either way, her first gang target is the Galio, and there's no words for this. So he ends up flashing into her Q, and then she jumps at him, gets knocked up, and it's just like... It's really funny to see that. The Aatrox just gave up halfway through. If he kind of helped, maybe they would have, done enough damage to kill him. By the way, Galio now has double buffs, and that's pretty severe. By the way, I'm sure you noticed that mid and top lane are switched. At post-game, they were talking about it. Essentially, the Aatrox was a giant jerk, and he forced the switch on them. Yeah. By the way, Aatrox gets basically destroyed by me and him, and then Nidalee decides, you know what, walking through these two gigantic CC machines is a good idea, and takes half her health and damage. And then she sticks by the tower against these two CC machines and gets destroyed. Aatrox tried teleporting in to maybe cheap out a kill, but it's too late. So yeah, 0-4 at about 5 minutes in. That's pretty sad. Galio, again, still has double buffs, so he basically gets to toy with Aatrox. Zeroth, dies. I was going to go in and cheap him out. Aatrox dives the Galio, or kind of, gets a little too close and takes too much damage. Now, sliver of health versus a sliver of health, and then he tries to flash Q in, and, I don't think people are realizing you don't mess with people with really good crowd control, and, especially on the towers. So, that's 0-6 now. That's pretty grim. Now you're realizing why I made this a double video, right? But yeah. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Once again, the Aatrox puts himself in a really bad position, so it's very easy to, CC him and nearly kill him. I end up using my flash just to get the W because I was hoping he didn't have any summoner spells. I didn't know. We weren't keeping track. We're just keeping track of all the kills we got. Then I know Nidalee's likely going to do a red, so I try to jump her, and we jump over each other so none of us do any damage. But at this point, I'm way ahead of her in terms of, items, Bambi Center. And I am just flat out stronger. I'm getting aggressive on her. There's no way she could beat me in a fight. Either way, she gets overzealous because I think, she's got homies coming along the way. But I chain CC her and do enough damage to kill her. Aatrox shows up, but then all my homies show up. And they kind of commit to trying to kill me, despite the fact that I have my passive, which is just kind of silly. Best part, too, is they don't even get my passive, so that was just really sad. Zeroth tries to beat me, but it doesn't matter. I survive with yet a sliver of health. So, yeah, to say this game is sad and depressing and, the amount of salt in the enemy team is so bad. Well, that's just bad English. I was going to make a really bad joke about the salt being, enough to create a new ocean. The QQ ocean. Either way, E again, get the Zeroth. At this point, everyone's sad and raging at each other. It's really, really sad. Anyways, a fun fact about the alt chat thing. Everyone's been suggesting a fix to the alt chat, and I know it works now. If you load up a game, toggle off the alt chat and then leave it and then restart the game, the alt chat starts working. That's tedious to do, so I don't care anymore. Either way, 0-13 at 13 minutes into the game. Just a mini little rant going by. Because the enemy team at this point have surrendered. They're opening mid and they're not really putting out much of a defense, right? They've just set out, we lose, just kind of get it done with. They can't surrender yet, but they do apparently fail a surrender, and then they get angry about that. I've always been bothered by that. It's a very obvious loss. I know the Gangplank is feeding. He's the only kill right now, but the enemy team kind of doesn't have any hope anymore, right? There's no chance in hell they should win. Yet, just surrendering is still something at least somebody on the enemy team doesn't want to do. And yes, I know losing sucks and maybe it's your promotions, but this is just, there's no way you're coming back from this. At this point, even though they refuse to surrender, they can't, stop us from taking these towers. They can kind of try and get really angry and whatnot, but they're still going to lose. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with surrendering it when you're this behind. But nobody cares about the Zac game, right? You're all interested in Kayn, and now we're here to the main event. Thankfully it wasn't like 3 seasons of filler, in between really good episodes, which some animes do. Or if you're Inuyasha, 90% of your anime, or 90% of your show is just fillers. So yay, now we're on to the main event. So, by the way, my opponent is Zac, hilariously, right? Basic start, but Zac can be slow, or sometimes Zac players like to get level 3 before they do their buff because he's really sustained and is pretty good at AoE clearing things. So I figure I would easily invade him if he's doing, if he did the level 3 kind of thing, and lo and behold, he does. So unsurprisingly, he kind of doesn't check the bush before he starts doing the monster, or doesn't even move towards it, so I force him out. Unfortunately for me, though, he's pretty brave and ends up taking the chicken with a smite. LeBlanc comes in, but so does my teammate, and look at this. Zac overcommits to fighting me, despite the fact that LeBlanc was caught by the Katarina. Zac cannot beat me by himself, so this is a silly thing by him. So I end up popping his passive and easily killing him. Again, not only did Zac commit that mistake of attacking me by himself after LeBlanc was split up, the enemy Vladimir is here too, and he does the same thing. His LeBlanc homie is nowhere near him, and he overcommitted a little bit too much and got chunked down. I only wanted the red buff, and Katarina overcommitted to that and ended up dying, so whatever. But getting first blood and denying the Zac farm and a buff camp is pretty damn good, especially on someone like Kayn who farms ridiculously well. You look at their team comp as well. Aside from Zac, they don't really have anyone who can survive, a blue Kayn. So that's what I'm hoping I can go. Ross is still pretty strong, but anime Kayn can absolutely obliterate them. So that's what I'm hoping to get. Either way, the enemy chickens spawn, I easily pick them up, and I know the Krugs are still likely alive, so I go for them and take them. This is huge, because I know Zac had already cleared the wolves, and he likely went back for the respawn on them. But look, he's about to show up on the ward, and he's only level 4. So, essentially put, I've denied him a lot of time and a lot of effort, and he's way behind me. I'm level 7, and I know he's still about level 4. And he's trying to make something happen. I believe he's going to go bottom lane right now and get, titty spanked. Either way, I wanted to get the blue, but the overcommitting on bottom lane just makes it super easy to go in there and kill him. I know Zac is level 5 now because he got the blue buff. But yeah, easily kill the brand. It doesn't matter that he's got exhaust. My damage is absurd right now because I have a completed jungle item. And of course, I'm Kayn. Against a support who obviously is very squishy. And again, maintaining the farm is super important on him. Okay, I already mentioned it before, and I even mentioned it at the start of this video. Jungle Kayn has become like my absolute favorite jungle carry. By the way, this is kind of sad to me. I overcommit. I do get the red buff, but my teammates aren't fast enough to be able to get to me because they're too far. So I kind of died like a punk. Thankfully, Tristana's there to pick up the kill on LeBlanc, and also the passive on Zac. They don't get anything else beyond that, but silver linings, right? As I always say, silver linings. Anyways, I have fully admitted before, or now admit again, that it's kind of funny that Kayn, when he came out, blue Kayn at the very least was very fun, but very weak. And then they buffed it and made him a lot more fun to play. But I thought Kayn to be completely useless because there were some things I didn't truly understand of his of how to play him. But then my own YouTube comments decided, they ranted and raved at how wrong I am, and they told me all these little builds and nuances with him, and I put them into practice, and it changed my mind. I'm not, too proud to admit, that I can be wrong severely like that, and thankfully it worked out that way. And by the way, that was kind of cool and sad that Zac brought me to kill Jhin. He should have just split up and not let his homie die, but, solo kill, yay. So yeah, more than several times fans have proven me wrong, and I've quite enjoyed that, because I learned something new. I'll learn how to play Rengar a little bit better. I still suck at Rengar, though. I'll learn how to fix the alt chat, although I don't want to do that anymore. And I learned how to play Kayn, who became one of my favorite jungle carries, if not my favorite one, replacing Kha'Zix, who became kind of burdensome to play at some point. Anyways, it's just to encourage you guys to write comments in the YouTube videos, because I actually do read them, pretty much all of them, and I take your information and and just kind of eat at it, listen to the ones that make sense and get confused at the really weird ones. But you get what I mean, right? But yeah, this game is 12-5. It's pretty severe. 6 kills are allocated on me and 3 on the Tristana. That is really bad for the enemy team. I mean, they're all their kills are allocated on the LeBlanc, but at this point, I can like one-shot her. Plus, her CS is terrible. So is the Katarina's. God damn, what's wrong with mid laners, right? But yeah, all I gotta do is just kill LeBlanc, and then their enemy team falls apart. Here also is kind of a cool kill. I'm gonna flash over or blink over with the explosive rune. Once again, Sion runs away, screaming cowards the opposite direction. I jumped to Vladimir, but the amount of damage I get to do on him is severe. Even though he uses stasis, he's still just gonna die. Butcha! Well, W! And by the way, one of the other things with Kayn that's been pretty cool, or at least, took a bit to learn, or one of the reasons why I was being less effective as Kayn, is that I was informed by the fans that maxing out his W in most situations is far better than his Q, and then I put that into practice, and it turned out to be absolutely true. And here I once again die like a complete ass. But either way, maxing out Q and maxing out W has different effects, and I actually like that in junglers. And again, maxing out W in this case just allows you to be more mobile with how you kill people, especially when you're chasing. And your Q, in some cases, is pretty good against a lot of tanks, right? But I don't know about Blue Kayn Q. Blue Kayn W gives you that cool little dashing thing. Kind of a little bit of quasi-poke. Also, Sion just kind of died like a complete jump, and then Tristana decides, to throw her life away too. Either way, kills are still not proper for the enemy team, and essentially it's a really bad thing for them, because if you have all your kills on one squishy character, it just kind of means you're, especially against assassins, it's just going to mean that we're going to target that character and remove them from the game. Either way, I'm just loving it. At this point, I can one-shot or two-shot most characters without having to use my ultimate. Like, look at this guy. He just explodes. The LeBlanc almost just kind of died as an after effect, too. And then Brand gets killed because he's so out of position, but he was honestly trying to help a homie, so I can't really blame him too much. Either way, I'm looking for another cheap kill to get. I love it. I don't know if Kayn isn't competitive, right? He probably won't really ever be, because he requires more snowball than Kha'Zix and is technically still a lot less versatile than him. By the way, I love this. She just gets annihilated, and then also the Jhin kind of dies due to my excessive damage and Tristana gunning them from the back. And I die for that, but it's totally worth it. But like I was saying, Kayn was used a few times last year in competitive, but didn't do anything, because to be honest, he's very snowball reliant, and base Kayn is still pretty damn shit. So that's kind of bad. Kha'Zix is going to pretty much always be the best jungle assassin in the game until they release someone better or or even more versatile. So, sadness for Kayn. But for solo queue, he's definitely someone you can learn to annihilate people. Though if you get behind as Kayn, then you can get really sad unless you can, evolve as Ross and finding out characters you can deal with. But yeah, at this point, the enemy team is pretty much donezo. I mean, Katarina is kind of dying every single fight, but whatever, she's not really that useful. And my teammates overcommit to a fight, but they get 2 kills, and then they kind of get 2 of our people killed. And then the Sion's doing his very best to kill the Brand. But then, of course, all the CC comes in and he gets blown up. It's nice to see at least a quasi-competent Sion, because we've had a lot of weird ones. By the way, 12, 3, and 2. Just look at that. It's so brutal. Their best character, with quotation marks around it, just dies just to my sneezing on them, right? Either way, jump on the Vladimir. He gets nearly eviscerated by, well, I missed my W, but he basically gets eviscerated. I'm also surprised my ultimate, I think my ultimate hit him through his W. I'm not quite sure. I get taken down to a sliver of health, but thank God I bought that Hex Drinker or I would have died. I use my E, and my Q barely makes it, so I dodge the Q. And then in comes Scion, all Hail Mary train mode here, slams into the brand, and once again I go through the wall. And I think I did some damage to be able to get the assist there, but Tristana's the one that got the kill. I get gunned down, and the whole next little scene is funny because I don't really do anything, but everybody in the enemy team is trying to target me, or at least trying to snipe me, because I have 14 kills, and I'm putting myself in danger. But my teammates protect me, and then I constantly just sitting next to this little wall so I can use my E whenever I need to just try to heal. Like, heal myself for a sliver by going through this unnecessary rock. Again, I'm just hanging back. I didn't even really do anything in that whole point except scratch Zack a bit. But then I die, and that's kind of sad. Still, though, the enemy team pretty much lost. And once again, it's one of those situations where, it's noble to kind of hold on, but you kind of are hoping they surrender just so you kind of win. Or, I don't know. In this situation, I don't think they have a chance in hell to bring it back. Their CS is not that impressive, although my team's is not that impressive either. Although, pound for pound, my team's is still way better than theirs. My team is super fed. Their team is super squishy, which means my fed characters will annihilate them. And even Katarina, who has pretty much been sucking it up, can annihilate them too. So it's just one of those situations where they don't have too much hope. But it's solo queue and people are very stubborn, right? It's just a really sad thing to see sometimes. Either way, I'm too busy farming up a storm because at this point I just wanted to pad my score to get an S. Because how hard is it to get an S on junglers right now? It's absurd. And my teammates are just finishing the game without me, which is totally fine. The game is over. Either way, hopefully you enjoy the double feature and the next season of, Jungle Kayn doesn't take another whole year to make. And if you liked this video, remember to give it a like. And if you aren't subscribed, make sure to subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the little bell up there somewhere so you actually get notifications to my videos, because YouTube and stuff.